on at one time, both of them with drawn comb. When I came back, I found out I had frames in both of them filled out.
Yeah.
Some in the first one, some in the second one. They didn't seem to care. They just put it wherever they could. So I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever because if you put
Now
it
you
lower,
are
they'll go
you
to that
saying
one.
that
If
you
you put
had
it upper, they'll go to
foundation?
that one.
You had
What's
foundation,
that?
or you had
I
drawn
had
wax?
comb. It was all comb, about the same, and they put it all over. I had some a little bit in some frames, and like in all the frames, a little bit. So they didn't just do one whole frame. They had one frame half done, another frame quarter done in each box.
Tom, are yours eights or tens?
10 frame. So that's my only real experience I have. So I just stack them on top of each other after
And I
seeing
think
that.
Charlie, you're doing the fives, right?
What's that?
You're doing five boxes instead of the tens, five frame.
I have nukes that I sell, and I have the hives that are behind me now. That's my row of honey production hives.
And
They're
they're
10.
eights or tens.
They're 10. Everything's
Oh,
10. I sell nukes, 5 frame deep nukes to. I got 7 of them already ordered for. I got 4. I got seven boxes of bees ordered already for this coming spring. And then I have right now I've got a dozen honey production hives, and next spring I'm going to add 2 more production hives and take out 4 of my nukes in my line. So I'll have 16 nukes and 14 honey hives. I originally started out with 24 nukes and I think it was around 10 honey hives, I think at the time, but my honey sales have.
I'll
It's
agree with that, but
I'll
bees,
agree.
I just still prefer to under super.
Charlie, how strong are yours coming out of winter for your production hives? They got to be like what, five frames of bees or what
Five
to be
my.
worth it?
You mean I'm talking about production hives?
Yeah, the productions are actually going to put out some honey.
You see how Ian's bees are? Where they're
Yeah,
overflowing? That's the way mine are.
coming out of winter.
Coming out of winter. That's because I use rocket fuel.
Oh golly! All right, I got to boost them up. No more two frame
I'll
bees.
put it to you this way. I sit there and laugh at these YouTubers that, oh, look at all the bees. And I'm like, where? All I see is a
That's me.
dozen bees. All I see is a dozen bees walking across a bunch of bare frames, and the frames look like they're brand new. And I'm like, when you open up a box of bees and all you see is a sea of bees, like Lee's box there he showed on there earlier, where there's bees on top of bees and you can't even see the frames. Now you got a box of bees. You got a box of bees that's gonna uh, make honey for you. And when like come the end of March of this year, now last year I got caught unexpectedly. I didn't realize that Apis Biologic would do that for me. And normally, if you got 3 mediums, you're going to have the 2 top mediums full of bees and brood. Bottom medium is totally empty. This year, it was brood from the bottom super to the top super, and bees from bottom board to the top board. And then when you took your inner cover off, they were overflowing. So, um,
Bob, there's a question.
this year or this coming spring, my game plan will be to go in late March, take that top box off, shake or smoke them down first. Take that top box off, shake all the bees off those frames, put the queen excluder on, put 2 honey supers on, but put that top box that I just took off that's got brood in there right back on top of that hive. And that'll draw all them bees up into those honey supers and cover that brood up there. And then I'll come back and I'll take those honey supers in that box off and then get down into those two mediums in there and pull out all the cat brood and put it up in that top box. And that way, yeah, it's a lot of work, but it works for me. And she'll keep on land. She will not swarm, and she will double your honey production. I did 80 pounds of honey this year per hive. I hope to do 100 next year. 100's about top. That'll top me out. I don't lift 10 frame deeps. I found that out 15 years ago not to do that. But that's my game plan. That's why I want that hive lifter. So it'll make that manipulation that I do, let's say every couple weeks, easier on my back and stuff. And all.
And Frank,
Can you get a lifter for?
I run singles, but I do it a little differently. I overwinter in doubles with a double screen board in between. So I have two queens per each stack. And then in 1st of April, I take the oldest queen, which it will be an April queen versus a summer solstice queen on top. I'll take that 4 frames out, take that queen and sell it as a 5-frame nuke. And then I combine the two back together and push them down into one box. And then put the queen excluder on her and turn it into a single.
Now, what I've thought of doing on some of
that
them.
way I have at least 6-7 frames of brood in that bottom box going into flow.
What I've been thinking about doing is I do the single brood, but I figure when the honey's just about over, start pulling that, and then instead of adding a medium on it, add a deep, and let them finish kind of putting some honey and everything in there. Then come fall, when they're doing their fall buildup, they're going to be laying a lot more and basically fill up two deeps. Let them overwinter like that, and then come springtime, remove one deep, put some eggs in there, and let them draw their own queen, and basically kind of double your population or double your number of hives that way. Not that I'm going to do all of them double, but a couple of them. That way I can double some of them.
And that's kind of your swarm control too, I guess.
It could work to a point for swarm control. I mean, if you take the doubles apart and then just add a medium on top of each one in the spring, when they start bringing in that nectar, give them room to put stuff, but room to lay eggs as well.
Hey, Tom, how many frames of bees are your 2 boxes when you're doing the double screen? Coming out of winter.
10 frames.
How many? 10 frames
10.
Each?
Yeah. So it's 2 hives.
10
2
frames.
hives basically on top of each other. And they share the heat all together.
Was you asking how many frames of brood he had?
No, the brood.
Okay.
By 1st of April, each box will probably have 6 frames of brood in it. Because
so they're ready to bust out.
Our first trees start blooming very end of February, basically March 1st. Our civil maple trees start blooming.
Frank, yeah, I mean, up where you're at in New Jersey, you should have brood starts about 2nd or 3rd week of February. That's the queens are laying up there in front, and where you're at, Frank.
So you guys are making me think of taking my little microscopic colonies, my big group of bees that you call like 1 or 2 frames, and put them all together and packing them in different dividers, and maybe doing several of them on top of each other with double screens, and so I have like 6 colonies all stacked in 2 boxes, and try and get them through winter, and as they expand, maybe give them a little space.
Yeah, Clay. What I do is I feed my bees about a week or 2 after Labor Day here in Maryland with sugar water, and I make 40-gallon batches, which you take a tablespoon of Apis biologic and this year I mixed it up in a quart jar with a blender. And then I just poured that quart jar in the 40-gallon batch and then let the machine mix it up. And then I fed everybody with that. Apis turns your, in my analogy of it, it turns your sugar water into nectar. And the bees will survive off of sugar water, but they will thrive off of sugar water with Apis in it. Because I think it gives them all the nutrients and stuff early on.
I'd bought some of the Apis earlier this year. Well, really springtime, but I didn't even open the packages yet. I think I'm just going to wait till next spring. And depending on how my work goes, if we're on 7 days a week again, or if I got at least 1 day off a week, I think I'm going to start trying the Apis this coming year.
Yeah.
It sounds like the amount of bees you guys have, you don't need no Apis. You guys busting out the seams.
Well, what hurt us this year, we had that late freeze come in, so it kind of knocked everything down, but it affected our tallow flow also, because when the tallow started, I'm not going to say blooming, but when the leaves started coming on the trees, that freeze hit and it knocked a bunch of our tallow back. And some of it never come back for this year to produce any nectar. So I'm hoping
So it's
next
like
year
a
it'll be
late,
lot better.
late drought, I guess.
Well, we had quite a drought this
Had a
year
drought
also.
too.
We had the freeze that affected it and the drought.
Yeah. Double hitter.
Right. Typically, right around the 1st of March, when the trees just start blooming, I'll feed them one time with about 2 gallons of sugar water with Apis biologics in it, like Charlie was mentioned, and that just gets them rocking. They
Yeah.
really get going.
Oh yeah. They
But
just,
then again, you're also got a ton of bees in your box, like 5 frames, 10 frames, I guess.
well, how many bees you got in your tent framer right now? My boxes are full of bees.
Yeah.
Maybe 3, 5.
3 or 5 frames. You got a nuke.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
I would say if you got some nuke boxes to reduce them down, because I mean,
Yeah.
you in New Jersey, so I mean, you basically wintertime, so they need to
Yeah,
be
he's
reduced
winter.
down to a
He's
smaller
right
area.
where I'm at. It's been in the 30s all day today. They're not going to fly the rest of this week, I don't think, unless it gets up to around 50. But it's supposed to rain and be crap this weekend.
Yep.
Clay, where are you located at? What state are you in? Yeah, I use like when I'm doing anytime I'm feeding sugar water, I'm using Apis biologic in there.
I started that last year. When Bob first came out with it, I bought a package.
Well, like I say, this time last year was when I first used it. I came into the spring, I got blindsided the amount of bees that were in my boxes. I couldn't believe it.
Well, that's why I wait till March now, so I don't have, it's manageable.
Well, I can manage it. I mean, I was expecting the same scenario that I've always had it. Now I can.
He's
And
in
Charlie
Virginia.
opened them hives up there first of the
Down in
season.
Virginia. Okay.
Bees come boiling out of Charlie's hives.
Yeah. And then when you pick them nukes up, they're dribbling out of the bottom. That's what you want. You know, it's like when I sold nukes prior to Apis Biologic, I'm like, man, I'm trying to find 3 frames of brood to give this person a nice nuke. Well, this past spring, I didn't have to worry about that because I had 3 frames in the top 5 frame box and 3 frames on the bottom because I overwinter 5/5. So I had 6 frames of brood and bees and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that was nice, you know, and everybody who got my boxes of bees, they all were, I asked them, you know, I want feedback, you know, how are my bees doing? And they said, oh man, they're doing great. So, you know, it's like
And they were feeding on Apis too, I guess. So they're all zinging.
they were fed with Apis. Hell yeah, I feed everybody with Apis. You know, everything's, you know, when I take a 40-gallon tank of sugar water on the back of my truck, and I'm running 32 hives, everybody's got a top high feeder, and I'm pumping it off as I'm going down the line and filling them up. You know, the nukes get those licensed top high feeders, which I think hold 3 quarts. And then all my 10 framers have the Man Lake double hole feeders. And because I don't have enough fluid to fill them up completely, like I'll say approximately 4 gallons, I fill one side of that feeder up, which is 2 gallons. All right, James, we'll catch you later.
Now, good night, everyone.
All right.
You got two down? Yeah, we're getting ready to cut it. Usually we go to around 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I get up so darn early.
Hey, Clay, where are you? Where are you at in Virginia? On the East Coast or whatever, or down in the mountains? Give me a town.
Come down to North Carolina.
Huh? I
Thought about it?
I thought about it. That's about a 12-hour trip.
No, 12 hours?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Baltimore.
I go down to 81 and well, give me a town there. I mean, I got hillbilly friends, cousins down that way. Next to the mountains.
Baltimore to 8 hours and 12 minutes, 530 miles. Whoa. I didn't think it was that far. I mean, I guess it could be. It's 3 hours away from me, so.
Charlottesville. All right. I was just down that way, down right around the corner from about a month ago. I was over there next to Rockfish, where the Waltons area is.
Yeah. How far am I from Nashville? Nashville's on the western side of the state, right? See?
Nashville's in the center. Nashville's 12 hours for me, and that's straight through. Now, of course, I always like to stop. You got to have breaks, and if you stop for, let's say, to Cracker Barrel or something like that, there's an hour going right there.
Or if you stop in a Buc-ee's.
7 hours and 10 minutes to Nashville from here.
I've never been to a Buc-ee's. There's no Buc-ee's around here that I know of.
Ask Bob about Buc-ee's.
Buc-ee's is awesome.
The way my wife travels, you can't stop. You're not allowed to stop. I had to beg in order to stop at Bob's at one time.
I have to.
Like, we got to get there.
You had to break your brakes.
Oh, my lands. Had to bribe her.
I should go kidnap Ian on Friday, and I should drive him to Buc-ee's in Florence so he can experience a Buc-ee's before.
There you go.
That's where he needs to go. I don't know if they got a Buc-ee's up near where he's going.
There's James again. 2,548 miles.
When are you going? When is he going there? Buc-ee's locations map. Nope, no one close to him. We're in the geographical anomaly here.
I think the nearest one we have is over in Alabama from us. It's coming down here this Tuesday.
Tuesday. They must have settled on getting that line in Mississippi.
Yeah, that's a lot of riding, though. Good night, James.
Yep, good night.
Yeah, it's about that time.
Yep, I agree. I'm fighting a little bit of a sore throat. So,
I'm still wore out from driving from my sister's
Yeah.
surgery yesterday, and then getting in late. And she's doing good, still a little sore. What we were trying to figure out, they done a biopsy earlier this year, and it come back saying non-cancerous. Well, the next thing you know, it grew so fast, basically it encased her entire kidney. And then they're saying, well, we think maybe it is cancerous now. So they went ahead and removed the whole kidney and said, well, we'll do another test to make sure. You would think they'd do that before they actually removed it, but at the same time, they're saying it's encased. So, I mean, either way, whether it's cancerous or not, something ain't right. But they got it removed. She's doing good. She's back home, but hurting.
well, that's good. I'm glad she's doing okay.
Yeah.
Let me see. All right,
Yeah,
guys.
All right.
We're gonna
Y'all have a good one. Appreciate everybody coming in again. Let's see what we got. Friday night over on Charlie's channel.
Friday on Charlie's.
Sunday over on Gunline Bees. And next Tuesday will be on my channel, Kodiak Farm.
Maybe I
Yeah.
can be there, Charlie. The last few times I've been watching playoffs for the local schools here.
Okay. We had a good time last Friday. I enjoyed that. And Clay, yeah, I went down 29 there. You're close to Lovington there with I think it's a Food Line or something down in that area there. Yeah, we're kind of right by your place. We're going down. We're going. Well, we take 29 on down to Roanoke. So, okie dokie.
All right, everybody have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Next
Good night.
Good night.